All right, let's move to the East and the Niverville Nighthawks. And Kevin, you get to lead us off here. This franchise has brought in a bunch of players from all over the country. They're kind of coming together almost like the Vegas Golden Knights did a couple of years back in the NHL. Not saying it's an island of misfit toys or anything, but I am saying that there's going to be a bit of a surprise element to the Nighthawks. Tell us a little bit about the Nighthawks team and how they're looking so far, or maybe what kind of brand of hockey they hope to play.
Well, seeing them in action really against another team for the first time as they played the Weyburn Red Wings in Souris the other night, and speaking with Coach Kelvin Check, they're putting together a team of characters, a team of high hockey principles, hard work ethic, and that's what we saw. I saw a lot of compete. There's a lot of guys still fighting for a spot on that roster, obviously, as well as it is early in the season. But it's a great culture. I hate to overuse the word, but that's such a key to the success of these hockey programs. Guys like Mike McCauley and his staff have done a phenomenal job going and overturning all these rocks. And as you mentioned, bringing players in from across the country, differing backgrounds, obviously differing skill levels. And there are a lot of local players they've brought in. A couple of the local, there's a couple 16-year-olds that have really impressed. Benjamin Dias was phenomenal in a game the other day. And as Kelvin Check said, here's a kid that's, freshly 16 and he's playing against guys out there with full on beards. So that's got to be tough as far as stepping into a roster like that. But it has been very intriguing from my position as a fly on the wall, so to speak. It's really cool to see them take this and really mold it into a hockey club within a short period of time.
Darnell, as an opposition, how do you handle mentally going into these games where you don't really know what to expect? And does that give Niverville an advantage early on in the new season?
Yeah, I think there's a slight advantage for sure. Nobody knows what to expect. A lot of these players are coming in relatively unknown. Many of them likely haven't even played in the MJHL before, so coaches haven't had a whole lot of time to scout them. So I think Niverville has a pretty unique opportunity to get out of the gates and start running just like the Golden Knights did in their first year. I think it's important to win games early because once these, teams from across the MJHL get a chance to scout, I think Niverville's off to a great start with their head coach and GM and Kelvin Check. We saw what he's done with the Winkler Flyers. He did such a nice job. So I think if Niverville can get off to a good start, this is a team that perhaps you never know in their first year. They don't. I think from an outside perspective, of course, if you talk to Czech and the Nighthawks, they want to win a title. But I think from the outside perspective, I don't think anybody has many expectations of this team to be, a top echelon team. And I think Niverville can use that to their advantage and try and shock some people.
Kevin, just to go on top of what Darnell just said, how does Niverville plan to manage those expectations, whether they come out hot or whether they come out cold? Do you feel that the pieces are in place to handle whatever comes the Nighthawks' way?
I think so. The buzz in town is very good. They've sold, I think, over 30% of the available seating for season ticket holders. Individual game tickets did go on sale, I believe, today. So it has been, there's been a lot of support and enthusiasm behind it. I think people have somewhat managed their expectations. I know you're bringing a bunch of guys from across the country and a staff of people from all over the league in varying positions as well. But I think the community is excited. I don't think anybody expects them to go out and win championships right off the bat, but I do think they want to be competitive. And I know Kelvin Check, he's a competitive guy. He's a detail-oriented guy. He's amazingly well organized. So here's a guy that comes in with great expectations, and that, to be fair to the community as well. They're building a rink around this team, and the community is going to be very supportive. So I expect them to be, somewhat successful in their first year, especially if the pieces that have come together can gel quickly and perform well on the ice.